Good afternoon.
Thank you for joining us today. Hope you didn't have any trouble parking or getting here. I am Keandre Battle, a participant for Free Spirit Media's Industry Pathways program.
And I am Charles Honeywood, also part of the Industry Pathways program. Keandre and I will be your MCs for the Social Elevation broadcast. So grab your snacks and beverages of choice and get ready to be socially elevated.
But before we get started, I am going to pass it over to Anidra Kerr, Free Spirit Media's Interim Executive Director.
Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Anidra Kerr, and I am the Interim Executive Director for Free Spirit Media. You may be asking yourself, what is a social elevation broadcast? Free Spirit Media's Social Elevation broadcast is a special screening and community event meant to shine the light on our young people and the amazing members of our community and the Free Spirit Media family. This is a time to acknowledge what a challenging year it has been for all of us and for Free Spirit Media, and to see what our talented media makers have been up to. Come and gain inspiration, listen, share, and connect with each other. Know that you, our participants and guest speakers, make this amazing work possible and contribute to achieving our mission. Join us in elevating your spirits and using media to transform society. We would like to take 1 minute of silence to remember all of the people we have lost this past year, and to all that have stood in solidarity with the Black Lives Matter movement.
Challenging, devastating, and remarkable are just a few of the words we can use to describe this year.
Take a look at some of the Free Spirit Media pieces that reflect where we are. Introducing a compilation of 3 pieces called These Times.
Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter means to me being an advocate for your community and your race and supporting each other.
The purpose of the Black Lives Matter movement is to draw attention to violence and harm that's caused against Black people, that has been caused against Black people for years. And I think the purpose of the movement is to not only draw attention to the fact that this harm happens in the Black community, but also really urging people to wake up to do something about it.
As an isolated incident. The reason why buildings are burning are not just for our brother George Floyd. They're burning down because people here are saying to people in New York, to people in California, to people all across this nation, enough is enough.
And now, let's take a look from a youth perspective. Hi, my name is Shanity Bailey, and my topic is about Black Lives Matter movement. This affects me because I am a young Black lady and I live in Chicago, which is a very violent city. So yeah, and some changes I want to see is people listening, like the president, police officers, the government, just listening to what we have to say as Black individuals.
My topic is Black Lives Matter. I chose it because I feel that I have some unsettled feelings about what has been happening. In some ways, it has affected my life and my perception of police in the majority of American society and values. I began to separate myself from social media in order to think, and I came to realize how people really were when their opinions came out about the protests. I would love to see more change in the U.S. when it comes to equality in the black and brown community, but that isn't promised. At the end of the day, I feel like we need to keep pushing for change, even though it isn't promising right now, until we get what we need and make specific demands.
I'm glad that African Americans is going out there marching for what they believe.
How are you affected?
It's affected me because being an African American, specifically African American male, police officers killing us in the street, and it could happen to me, it can happen to anybody.
It is an intolerable situation. It has been intolerable for 100 years. This is a tremendous amount to demand of people who are technically free in a free country which is supposed to be the leader of the West. They have no idea what it costs those kids to go through that, to picket a building, for example, when people upstairs in the building are spitting down on your head or trying to vomit down on you. You know, for all these hundreds of years, white people are going around saying they're better than anybody else. Sooner or later, they were bound to create a counterweight to this.
Within the statement from James Baldwin about the Black Lives Matter movement, he discusses how people who are primarily black and brown are put into violent and poverty-ridden environments. As they are within an oppressed group, their protests result in violence due to the force used by police who expect violence from those people. This is definitely what has been occurring during the Black Lives Matter movement, which has been addressed by several other people as well.
It's to feel a sense of community with people who are also upset and sad and outraged and confused. This trying to piece apart forms of protesting, one that is good protesting and one that is bad protesting, plays into something called respectability politics, meaning that you deserve more rights, you deserve more love and care if you perform or react a certain way. And if you do not perform or react a certain way that I agree with, that I approve of, then you are not deserving of rights. You are not deserving of care and well-being. Either way, no matter how someone chooses to protest, they do not deserve to be beaten. They do not deserve to be handled or treated as though they are a paper bag or a non-human figure.
The changes I would like to see is those officers that kill unarmed black individuals to be charged immediately.
And I can contribute by protesting or just speaking up more, like on social media or something like that.
I think justice means taking away resources from the entity that causes harm to black people and black communities, taking away money from that in those institutions and investing money into black communities.
I am Brandon Hummins, coming from the west side of Chicago. I attend North Lawndale College Prep, currently number 1 in my class.
My name is Chris Frills. I'm a senior at North Lawndale College Prep, and I've had the opportunity, the blessing, to be able to go to the Democratic National Convention.
What's up, you guys? Chris Frills and
Brandon Hummins.
Here on our quest to find out, are there grounds for hope in America? And looking at statistics, like a third of a generation is born under the poverty line.
And 80% of the people that are in jail are high school dropouts.
One has to ask themselves,
are there really grounds for hope in America?
For the last basically 8 years, we've had no hope and no promise. I'm from rural Missouri. We have a band of people we call Rednecks for Obama because we're tired of all the little political ploys and pundits that want to use bumper sticker answers for Republican responses, and the time's come to change.
Even though we are in the greatest country on earth, our country sometimes can go in the wrong direction. And Barack Obama can bring it back in the right direction. And what's the right direction? To take care of folks here at home, to bring equality for people.
There will be change because our hope is in the future, and you are our future.
As a citizen of the United States, I see that many different things can be accomplished by anybody. I think that people like Michelle Obama saying that if we all help each other and we all believe in each other, then we can truly make steps into having a sense of hope and a sense of security in America.
That's the world as it should be. That's the world that Barack is fighting for.
And growing up in a community that is so socially and economically challenged, I never thought to myself that I would ever have the opportunity to take part in such a historic event.
When I was 15 years old, back in 1963, my mother sent me to the March on Washington. I heard The Dreamer, August the 28th, 1963, and to think 45 years later, on the exact same date, the dream has been fulfilled. I am in awe of God that I have the privilege to stand on this ground in Denver and witness the fulfillment of that dream that I heard in 1963.
So here we are in Denver, and it amazes me how it is that so many people have come to support a black man running for president in the United States of America. A man who promotes hope, who promotes unity among all.
America, we cannot turn back. We cannot walk alone. At this moment, in this election, we must pledge once more to march into the future. Let us keep that promise, that American promise, and in the words of Scripture, hold firmly, without wavering, to the hope that we confess. Thank you. God bless you. And God bless the United States of America.
As people walk out, they're walking out in the hopes of a better future for themselves, a better future for their children, a better future for the generations that come beyond them, a better future for America. Brandon, what do you think about it?
I think that Obama just gave the most inspirational speech in our entire history. And he gave us hope for a future that is completely unbelievable, but we believe we can achieve it.
Black Lives Matter.
And that piece made me miss President Obama even more.
Next, let us introduce Mariah McBride, journalist and program assistant for the Real Shot program and part of the prestigious Points of Coke Fellowship, and our incredibly talented guest, Will Jones from ABC7, who is a NABJ board member that truly understands our mission firsthand.
Can you first start off by just telling us why journalism? How did you get started?
So when I was, I believe, 4 or 5, my family was on the news in Cincinnati. They did a story, the local NBC station, about my dad for Father's Day. And I remember the anchor, after the reporter finished the story, it was the sports reporter. The anchor was Jerry Springer. I didn't know who or how important Jerry Springer was at the time. I think it was way before his talk show, but he used to be the mayor of Cincinnati. He said that Will Jones seems like a great guy. And I remember thinking, wow, my dad is cool. Now everyone else knows my dad is cool too. So that started my interest in journalism.
So what was the hardest part about getting started in the industry after school?
The hard part was getting used to the salary. So it's hard to find jobs, period. But I found a job, and it was in Charleston, West Virginia, which was about 3.5 hours away from Cincinnati. Just the pay starting out is extremely low. And you don't realize how low it is when you're in college. Any amount of money seems like a lot of money. But when you're paying bills and you have your student loans and your parents aren't paying for things anymore, you realize how much of a struggle it is to make ends meet. So I think that was the biggest challenge.
Reporting wise, what was the challenge there?
So just getting story ideas when you're new to a region. I had never lived in West Virginia. I was not used to the environment that was West Virginia. So that was the biggest challenge of being away from your family and friends. You don't have people around you that are your age living in the same building. So just learning to adapt to a new environment, that was the biggest challenge. And then making the necessary connections in the community to get story ideas and for people to trust you with their stories.
And throughout your career, have you seen, or maybe not seen, the diversity in the newsroom increase?
So at the station I work for now, this is like the most diverse station I've ever worked for. We have people represented from all different backgrounds. And I think that is why we do such a good job covering our diverse communities within Chicago, because we have people who understand what people are talking about within these neighborhoods or certain communities. So I have seen just in my career moving from a smaller market station in West Virginia where there were 2 Black people at the station, and then moving, and then there were no other ethnic groups at the station, and then moving on to Chicago where there are a lot. I can't even count off the top of my head how many Black reporters or Asian anchors or Hispanic reporters we have at the station.
What advice would you give Free Spirit Media, our participants, our partners, our supporters that can help transform the nature of reporting and the racial makeup of our newsroom?
I would just say own your voice, trust your gut. What people are talking about in your circles, other people should know about, and make sure you are an advocate for yourself, advocate for your community, and know yourself. I think in TV in particular, when you start out, you get so much coaching. I get coaching now, but they try at times to, if you're not careful, you can change who you are to adapt to what they think you should be. But if you have that inner core, you're able to take feedback and make it your own and make it work for you and not change who you are. And that does not mean to grow your skill set, but just change who you are at your core. Because that's what makes you different, is what your experiences in life and who you are. I just want to say, you did a good job. I was not prepared for this. You kept it moving, and it was like a natural conversation. So you weren't going all over the place with your questions. I know everyone has a list of things they wanted to ask, but you kept it like a conversation. I think that's important. When you're interviewing someone, is to make it seem like you're just interested in what they have experienced rather than coming in, I have to get this, I have to get that. Obviously you have an agenda, but you made it just so seamless. It was excellent.
Thank you. I appreciate it so much. Thank you for your time.
The following part of our program includes Reggie King, a participant from Free Spirit West, and Ana Mbunchi, youth media maker, recognized by the Cannes Film Festival. She will also be a new Free Spirit Media participant. Let's check out a piece Ana did on bullying.
qualifications? You're not even concentrating, child.
I don't know. I just don't get it. I'm just stupid.
Tita. Tita. Who told you that you're stupid?
The kids at school. They call me stupid.
Listen to me. Listen. You're not stupid. How can you be stupid when you're on the honor roll?
Everyone thinks I'm stupid. They call me Blackie and African booty scratcher. They all laugh. No one cares. Not even my friends. They just sit there and laugh when being called names. They don't stick up for me at all. And I hate that they call me African booty scratcher. It makes me feel like they're not only talking about me, but my family.
I know you not only written but directed and produced his short film Made in His Image, which is really impressive at the age of 11. So congratulations on that. And can you just speak to me about basically why you made that movie and like what was the process behind making that?
Yeah, I made in His Image because in 3rd and 4th grade, I was bullied about my dark skin complexion and for being part Kenyan. They would call me names like African booty scratcher, monkey, slut, like all the names you can think of. And I lost my confidence. I lost my courage. And then after like 2 years of getting bullied straight, I finally just broke down to my mom and told her my bullying story. And she was like, I was called the same names that you were called. And she had the same bullying story that I had. And I was like, well, if my mom can go through this and be the woman that she is today, so can I. So then I just started writing my story in my journal. And then one day I went to an acting lesson with my coach, the fly girl, Josie Harris Thacker. There was this book on her shelf called Dark Girls, written by Phil Duke. I was like, what is this book? And she's like, oh my gosh, you have to read this book, because by then everybody already knew about my bullying story. I was kind of open and honest about it. So I took the book home, I read it, and I just couldn't put the book down because I didn't realize people like Viola Davis, Lupita Nyong'o, these famous people went through what I went through. So then that's when I fully wanted to share my story, to empower young dark girls like me to love themselves and to have courage and to know that their dark skin is beautiful and no one can tell you any different. And the process of making this image was kind of interesting. One of those days it was raining and we were supposed to go outside and we couldn't. So we were like, you know what, let's just shoot it inside because it was supposed to be a playground scene. So we were like, let's just make it a gym scene. No one will ever know. No one will ever know. And we would also have some like sound issues, but we got it done and everybody on there did it for free. Everyone was so nice. Everyone was like basically my friends, and there were also some people that we auditioned to be in it. And it was really hard finding someone who could play me. There was just a lot of people that didn't resonate to me and a lot of people that weren't my skin tone. And I was very adamant on finding someone with my dark skin tone. And when I found her, she was amazing. And when I met her, she was exactly like me. And I was like, I made the right choice. And she brought my film to the light. And I'm so grateful for her because my film is what it is because of her. She told that story and she had the same experience I had, and it was because of my film that she was able to overcome her bullying. So it was a lot of empowering during that set, and it was a long process, but it was worth it because, you know, I empowered a lot of people.
Yeah, I love that you're not only taking your situation and experience and trying to uplift yourself, but also trying to uplift other people that are going through the same things as you. And so other than just uplifting, what else did you want people to take out of that film?
I wanted people to find their voice, to find their happy, because I'm an actress and I didn't know that I was going to be a director. I never knew my purpose. But when I got bullied, then I found out that I really am a filmmaker, and that's really what my passion is. So doing Made in His Image was another way for people to find their voice and to not just, they don't have to make a film when they get bullied. They can write a book. They can start an organization. They can do so many things because we have social media now. So there's so many things that you can do. And I just wanted to let people know that they can find a voice, and they're not too young to start change. No one is too young, and they can make a difference at such a young age. So that was another goal of mine.
Okay, and with you being so young and still having so much future ahead of you, what else do you want to do within the film industry? Like, what other topics do you want to address?
The main topic I really want to address is colorism. So that was another thing that was going on in my film, Made in This Image, was it tackled colorism and bullying at the same time. So I think the Black community, not just the Black community, but the Hispanics, Indians, Asians, we all have an issue with colorism. We separate ourselves with hashtag Team Light Skin and hashtag Team Dark Skin, where we should really just be one team. We shouldn't have to separate ourselves based on our skin color. And I think in my filmmaking, I really want to show people that we can come together no matter our skin color, and we can come together and make so much change in this world. And I am doing a 4-part miniseries that tackles colorism worldwide and how the skin bleaching community is like $1 billion industry, and we need to find a way to increase that, because there's no way that people should be using skin bleaching just so they can feel beautiful and lighter when they shouldn't, because they already are beautiful. God created you for a reason. When he made you, he saw that it was good. He made you in his beautiful and perfect image. And that's really what I want to tackle as I grow more in filmmaking.
Okay, and for us being Black people and Black youth especially, most times we're either underrepresented or we don't have access to the resources that other people have for like filmmaking. So what advice would you give to kids who are trying to come up the same way we are with filmmaking and things like that?
I would say use the people around you. That's exactly what I did. I used the people around me, and they really helped me as the people that I used around me. Just find your friends and family who can help you in whatever you want to be, or whatever, filmmaking, writing a book. Just use the people that you have around you, because those people can make you successful.
All right, and what do you feel like, and I know you're still young, so you might not have as much power as you want to, but what do you feel like in about 10 years maybe? How do you feel you can impact the youth and put them in positions to where they have direct access to like film industries?
I think in 10 years, well, I hope and I pray in 10 years that we Black people, not just Black people, but everyone around us can be treated as equals, and we could be looked at as not just, thieves or, just people, just be looked at as regular people. So I hope like in 10 years in the filmmaking that I do, it can really just empower people and wake people up and realize that, we need to step our foot down. White people in particular really need to step their foot down and really need to start including everybody. And I hope that in 10 years, the films that I create and the messages that I bring out really help to empower and lift up people, and really help to bring the message out that we are exactly like you. We're no different.
Well, thank you, Anna. I cannot wait to see what you create next, and you have a really, really bright future ahead of you. Now, I'd like to share a portion of a piece that I created through the pandemic. What are some of your favorite things to do during this pandemic?
The biggest thing I think is during this time that I picked up on is PC gaming. I have totally abandoned console gaming for the most part. I'm a really big console gamer. I got every console you can imagine, but I built a gaming PC last year, and I've only been upgrading it over the past year, and it's been so nice and so lovely and so easy to use. It's just I don't even feel like going back to a regular gamer. But having time to do it all is the biggest problem.
I was able to really tap into my creative side. I had kind of forgotten about it due to the everyday life of working and kids. And so I was able to do more hands-on things, gardening, crafts. I also started back doing hair and nails, something that I really forgot that I enjoyed doing. But with the pandemic, I was able to find more time to do those things that I enjoyed.
I kind of picked back up on my art and stuff. Like, I was kind of burnt out last year. And I had time, but I didn't have enough time. But now that I have a lot of time, because all we do is stay at home, and I don't have classes for real. All I do is like paint, draw, make clothes, all of that good stuff, you know?
During this quarantine, I learned how to skate. I tried calligraphy. And I started making keychains and ashtrays and cute stuff like that.
Gaming, online shopping. I talk to my friends a lot more. Building computers.
Spending time with my kids doing random stuff like this. I get to have my son interview me. I watch old movies with one daughter. I work on cars with another daughter. I build computers with another daughter. So, just being able to do weird, fun stuff with my kids during this time. Because like I said, we got a lot of time on our hands, so we'll see how it goes from here.
Spending time with my family, because before quarantine, I was at work a lot in school, so I never really got to see them, but now I do, like every single day.
Get him shot look good. Camera, feel me? Y'all hear that, right? You can really just see how everybody in my family's really like progressed themselves. You have my dad building computers, playing games, little sister helping him build computers, online shopping, things like that, drawing. You got my other sister drawing, my other sister learning how to roller skate, making like keychains and stuff like that. My mom picking back up hair, cosmetology, things like that. And it's just like to see how everybody's like progressed during this pandemic is kind of inspirational, because not many people are finding motivation to do new things. So just hearing that from them, hopefully that can help you and inspire you to do new things. But enough about them. My name is Reginald King. I'm a part of Free Spirit Media Apprenticeship West. I am a junior at Lindblom Math and Science Academy, and some of the hobbies that I've picked up on: roller clips. I just spent a lot of time like on the phone with my friends and stuff, to stay in contact with them. And another thing that I was doing a lot of was dancing, because it's something that I just found therapeutic in such like hard times, just something to really get all the bad feelings away. I've even tried doing my hair a couple of times. Yeah, I got better in like skincare routines, and like remodeling and painting, building stuff is something I really took a aspiration in over this pandemic. But really like honing in on my basketball skills, which is something I love doing the most, was like really beneficial, because I have a lot of time on my hand to just continue to get better and better. And so that's really what the main things that I've learned during this whole pandemic.
Free Spirit Media's participant, alumni, and styles are multi-talented creator. Meet Ryan McGill, also known as Roy Henix, a previous Industry Pathways cohort member and talented musician.
Put those running shoes on. It's a quarter after dawn now. And when it's cold outside, stay afloat, you're covered in color. To my sister, that I love her. If I had a choice, I'd probably choose another. At the end of the day, when the clock strikes out, then here I'll stand. If you're gray, you're red, yellow or blue, God knows your pain, believe it's the truth. God chose you, God chose you, God chose you, yeah, God chose you. Before you ask, it's to you. Sometimes you'll feel like a runaway, Just know that you're here to stay. Don't leave me, believe me, just breathe. Tell my sister that I love her. If I had a choice, I'd probably choose another end. At the end of the day, and the clock strikes out, then here I'll stand. Doesn't mean red, you're red, yellow or blue. God knows your pain, believe it's the truth. God chose you, He chose you. So raise your glass before you ask. Here's to you. Yes, God chose you.
Thank you, Ro, for providing us with some musical inspiration.
Don't miss this segment. Alumnus Joshua Jackson will gain insight from Kwame Omoku, multi-talented film veteran and director of the Illinois Film Office.
Going back to, I guess, your younger days, what was that pivotal moment that kind of sparked your interest in film?
Well, it was like two parts. One, it was a photography class I took in my junior year of high school that kind of really changed my whole perspective about, the visual arts and what that meant in my ability to express myself. And that transitioned into motion once I started really getting into independent films. My mom was a huge independent film fan when I was growing up, and she used to go to the video store and rent a lot of independent, kind of obscure stuff, and I used to enjoy that as a teenager and growing up, and it really sparked my interest in film. And but I had to say it was To Live and Die in LA. Watching that film made me want to be a filmmaker for whatever reason. I don't know, it just triggered something in me.
As a veteran, how have you seen the landscape of film and media evolved over the last 25 years?
First and foremost, at the top of that list, I have to say technology. I went to film school, and I used to actually cut actual physical film and tape it together to edit. It's just the advent of non-linear digital editing, the switch from analog to digital formats has just opened up the industry and the craft in a way that's crazy. I mean, it's changed everything. I think I'd have to say technology has been at the forefront on both the level of production and then also even with distribution, where the only place you could watch something used to be a DVD in your house or a television program that would broadcast, and now you're watching entire movies on your phone.
I guess kind of talk about why representation is so important in film.
Well, you're telling stories, and so you want the stories to reflect the people that are telling them usually. I mean, especially when you talk about pieces of art that are, about people of color. Having that perspective, I think, makes all the difference in the world. And I think a lot of networks and studios are starting to realize that having people of color in their artistic process does nothing but enhance their brand and make the product even better.
And how do you see the city of Chicago contributing to solutions of inequity in the film industry?
Well, in conjunction with the state of Illinois, I think we've done some amazing work here. Right now, statistically, the average film crew is about 51% women and people of color compared to 49% Caucasian in the city of Chicago. And those type of numbers are just really unheard of anywhere else. So I think it's a priority for us in order to facilitate this. I think, workforce development is very important. Programs like Free Spirit Media kind of help that process. Programs like Cinecare. The city of Chicago is standing up a film production workforce development program, as well as the state of Illinois. So just workforce development programs centered in underserved areas is something that we're focusing on, as well as building soundstage infrastructure in underserved areas. So the lack of infrastructure is really kind of pigeonholed the growth, as a city, production-wise. When you look at a place like Atlanta, one of the only reasons, in addition to their more liberal tax credit, that they have much more production than we do is the huge amount of infrastructure that exists there, studios and stages. So we need to bolster that here if we want to grow. And, part of that, I think, putting those facilities in underserved areas, like on the south and the west side, go a long way for economic development in those areas.
For the younger generation that's going to be watching this, what's some advice that you can kind of give them, particularly black and brown people that are interested in film?
I would say, just, be prepared to take advantage of those shots when they come. Make sure in that preparation involves learning the craft, learning what's going on around you, and really being a part of the process of making the film by understanding what it is.
Media is everywhere. This year, we recognize the power of media and expression. The two pieces you will see captures the importance of the arts and activism.
Music and people fill the room at this year's opening of the 8th Art of Blackness exhibition. Curator LaShawn Tynes says after 7 years of hosting, he still enjoys it.
I really enjoy the sense of camaraderie that I see the artists share with one another and just the attendees, and they're very excited to show their work, and they're very excited that people receive their work well. So for me, that's like the super big payoff.
As a black artist, Tynes noticed non-inclusive hiring practices limiting black artists' exposure within the art community. In 2011, this led him to create his annual exhibition that hires and highlights African American artists. He feels that blacks having control over sharing their art and more recognition has led to progress within the art community.
When you think about how we're capitalizing on cultural currency and how we're becoming masters of how our culture is shared and who profits from it, then I would say we're definitely on the right path.
One artist, Jemiah Calvin, also known as Maya the Creator, says the location of the display can give black artists a new audience.
Usually a lot of our exhibitions and exhibits are usually in the same type of areas, So, a lot of people know about, Hyde Park. To be downtown, I think this is the first time I've ever been in a group art show with more people of color.
The showcase will run through December 15th and features 19 artists with diverse artwork and styles. Tynes says that some artists do return, but he's always looking for new talent. He invited photographer Lauren Toney to the event, which she says the experience was refreshing.
Chicago is up and coming, I feel, with the black talent. And it's also nice to be able to be around artists that share a similarity with you that you don't always get to experience in a curated show.
Unlike some exhibitions, Art of Blackness does not have a theme. Tynes gives participants creative control when deciding what pieces to present. In the end,
thank you guys for coming out.
He is left applauding the artists for their contributions.
Humans and nature coexist, and we cannot exist without nature. And to have a park called Unity Park, of all names, right? In North Lawndale that's celebrating 150 years, trees grow to be more than 150 years. So 150 years feels like a long time, but actually, they just discovered some trees in North Carolina that are over 2,000 years old. And there's something about the word cultivation that means everything to me.
Something on my mind. You're miles away, but your heart feels close by. The sun is in my eyes. The sun is in my eyes. love is blind, but with you, roses are red, violets are blue. I know I'm meant to be with you.
We do lots of community engagement projects all around the city, and because Yo-Yo was our creative consultant for so long, he's also very involved with the Civic Orchestra, so that's how I got involved here today. And I love being engaged in the city. I'm from here, so this is a really special event for me as well.
I work at this shop in North Lawndale, this Forge, and then the School of the Art Institute, who was working with Pedro Reyes, the artist, and they had they have this project of forging shovels from gunmetal, and they came to the shop, asked if we could do it, and then we did. Yeah, usually I'm just a industrial blacksmith making hardware and stuff, and I had this opportunity to make something a little more fun, artistic.
That's all I wanna do, and all I need is you. Maybe you would be somewhere else apart from me. Come on, soon.
Because that's the word that's formed from culture. It's what we invent, what we build in order to live and to have hope, right? So it's all about living things. How do we keep ourselves alive? How do we keep other things alive and maintain so we can all thrive together?
Violets are blue.
These are some inspiring pieces.
Our event is nearing to an end. I would like to point out that racism and xenophobia is not new, yet there has been an increase in attacks against Asian individuals, businesses, and communities across the globe. We stand in support and solidarity of Asian people.
This screening and community event is meant to really shine the light on how we can create solutions together and how we can uplift each other. Free Spirit Media's creators, our guests, and so many others are doing their part to transform society and to change the landscape of media. I would like to introduce Nichelle Pugh and Maxine Brown, whose community efforts are helping people in need during these challenging times. Let's hear more about what they're doing and how you can get involved.
I am the founder of the nonprofit Protect Sisters Foundation, which is dedicated to raising money for Black women in film. What made me go into media? Yeah, I just kind of started creating stuff out of the little stuff I had, like toys, anything, and then it's just like evolved into me actually writing my own stuff. It's just not a lot of Black women represented in media. So that's kind of partly why I started my foundation. I want Black women to tell more stories that are from Black women. I feel like that it's always a Black man telling our stories or a white man telling our story, or, someone who's just trying to push their propaganda or some type of agenda. I just want the Black women's agenda to be, put out there for the world to see, because I just feel like the way things have been set up, we have not been able to. The John Wall Foundation, what we do, our primary goal is to work with young people in the city of Chicago. However, last year we decided to take an additional approach to reach the community as well as a whole, and we began the Feed the West Side. Our very first Feed the West Side kind of started after the death of George Floyd. The city of Chicago just went ballistic. We kind of was discussing like, what do we need to do on our side of the city, and basically in the Austin area, because we hadn't seen, many things going on to kind of help with what we felt was a destitute area. If it's a need, anytime there's a need, then there's someone that can help with that need. You could be that person. All it takes is just to have that one person to spark an interest to be able to help the community with whatever it is. And if you reach out and ask for help, other people will help. Because we got a loving community. It may not seem like it sometimes with some of the street violence that happens in the city of Chicago, but it's a lot of people in our communities that want to give back and want to make sure that the youth in our community, or just, our community in general, is good.
There is so much we can accomplish together. Thanks for being part of our Social Elevation broadcast.
Before we end today, I would like to say Happy Women's History Month and acknowledge all the powerful women that were part of today's Social Elevation broadcast. I'll pass it over to two of them right now. Keita Glenn, Director of Programs, and Soni Sinha, Director of Development and Communications.
I am so proud of the media makers and leaders. Thank you for everything you have done today, throughout the pandemic and this challenging year, to build community and help us get through. Please be sure to mark your calendar for May 20th from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. to celebrate our 20th anniversary.
Thank you for being part of our first Social Elevation broadcast. We're thrilled to have you here. Thank you to everyone that made this event possible, especially the women identifying individuals. Happy Women's History Month. We look forward to seeing you at our 20th anniversary focus event. Have a great day.